Hey, what's up guys? It's Jess. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience deleting TikTok and Instagram for 2 months. The reason why I decided to delete these apps in the first place was because I really felt like they were controlling my life. I used to have over 8 hours of screen time every single day, and at least 4 of those hours were spent on social media. The first thing I would do when I woke up in the morning was check my phone. The last thing I would do before going to bed was check my phone, and it got to the point where I wondered why I wasn't doing well in school, why I wasn't able to accomplish the goals I set out for myself during the day, and that's honestly because I spent so much time on my phone that I simply didn't have time for anything else. I didn't have time for school, work, friends, and most importantly, I didn't have time for myself. I always found that the stuff I saw on TikTok and Instagram were things that kept me on the app. I would tell myself I'm only gonna spend 10 minutes on it, and it would turn into an hour. Plus, the content I was consuming wasn't making me a better person. It wasn't helping me live a more fulfilled life. If anything, after I got off the app, I felt defeated because I spent so much time on it. All of that time I would never get back. So those are some of the reasons why I decided to delete those apps in the first place. I think the overarching reason is because I spent too much time on them and I wanted to spend my time doing other things. So now I'm going to be talking about that first week of not having both of those apps. I knew I had a problem because when I deleted those apps, the first day I woke up and immediately checked my phone and looked for those apps. Even though I knew I already deleted them, it was just that impulse to go check them. Similarly, when I went to go on the link, the first thing I did was search up for the app, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I deleted it. Why did I not remember I deleted it? And lastly, when I went to bed at night, the first thing I wanted to do was go on TikTok or go on Instagram. It was honestly so disgusting to know that I had the impulse to check social media without actually making the decision to check social media. And with going on the link and having the impulse to check my phone, it made me realize that I wasn't able to just sit still and think, that I hated that. I hated the fact that it was just me and my mind rather than me and my screen. Kanye brought up this quote that really disturbed me yesterday, and it was, if you're paying for an app for free, then you are the product. Throughout this challenge, especially at the beginning, I did have some impulses to re-download these apps, and that's because I felt like I was missing out on an opportunity. Especially on TikTok, where I felt like it was relatively easy to go viral on there as opposed to platforms like YouTube. I already had a few videos go viral. I was in the creator fund. I made over $60 so far at that point. I had 12,000 followers. It was honestly a lot less effort to create content on there than it is YouTube. There was just so much that compelled me to stay on TikTok just because I felt like I had such an opportunity there where I could have been a big social media influencer on that app if I really wanted to. With all of that going for me, sometimes I felt like I was missing out on an opportunity to make money and to grow my social media presence, which could therefore potentially help my YouTube channel as well. And the reason why I decided against re-downloading the app is because I realized I had a social media addiction by being on TikTok and Instagram all the time. And social media addictions are not treated as seriously as other addictions you'll see with drugs and alcohol. And I hate the fact that social media addictions are normalized in our society, especially in my generation. How long was your screen time today? Oh my gosh, it was 10 hours. I have a problem. Oh my gosh, I have a social media addiction. I can't believe it. Are you kidding me? You're normalizing an addiction and you're laughing it off? And you realize you have a problem, but you're not willing to fix it? As a disclaimer, I am not here to judge anyone because I've been in that exact same position, so that was more so me talking to myself. And another reason why I decided to not return to TikTok was because it took too much time to keep up with the trends. In my opinion, on YouTube, you have more freedom in what type of content you create because of the YouTube search engine. Whereas TikTok is a constant scrolling method, and you have to hope that your video sticks out to whoever watches it on the For You page. And while trying to grow your platform on TikTok, you are most likely going to be spending even more time on the app because you are looking for trends and you're looking for video ideas to do. But in reality, you're only further developing your social media addiction and your ties to this app that's controlling you. So those were all of the reasons why I was tempted to go back, but I refrained from it. And now I'm going to be talking about the results from this 2-month challenge. The first takeaway is that I no longer had interests in people's lives, meaning that I wasn't attached to social media for the purpose of seeing, what did this person post today? Who are they hanging out with? What do they look like now? What are they doing after high school? I have over 1,000 people I'm following on Instagram, and mainly they're people that I knew from high school, but I'm not close with 99% of those people, nor do I like about let's just say 20%. 20%. And I used to think it was such a big deal, like, oh, I need to follow these people, and if they follow me back and we like each other's posts, then I'll look better because I have more followers and more Instagram likes. That is honestly so disgusting that I cared so much about the follower ratio and the amount of likes I got on a post as if it were some sort of validation for me. And it made me even more upset that I was sharing parts of my life with people that I didn't even like. And when I deleted social media, specifically Instagram, I realized that none of that mattered. Why do I need to look at other people's lives so intensely through the lens of social media? The answer is I don't, and no one needs to do that. Because I had less interest in other people's lives, I had more interest in my own. Which sounds so ridiculous to say, like why would you not have more interest in your own? But I didn't when I had social media. I had more interest in other people's lives as opposed to my own. I always thought I was a minimalist while having a social media addiction, and I really don't think I was, because while I was able to eliminate physical items really easily, my digital space was a disaster, and I was not living intentionally, and I was not living for me. The next takeaway from deleting TikTok and Instagram was that I was able to develop better habits. I drank more water, I exercised more regularly, I read more books. That is honestly one of my favorite things from this challenge, was that I read more and I learned more. I wasn't learning anything by being on TikTok and Instagram for 5 hours a day, but I was learning from reading 10 pages of Think and Grow Rich every single day. I was learning more by having more time to focus on my school, which gets into my next point, which is I was able to focus more. I had such a horrible attention span when I was addicted to social media. And it really showed itself within that first week of deleting social media when Kanye and I started implementing stretching into our routine, and I couldn't sit still. I needed something to stimulate my mind. I hated the action of just being there with my thoughts and stretching, which is so horrible because stretching is so good for you. And it was so horrible to realize that I didn't have the ability to sit still and think anymore because I needed something like a screen in my face. The next takeaway is that I had improved sleep. I was able to sleep longer and I wasn't waking up throughout the night. And the reason for that is because I wouldn't wind down in bed with my phone. I would wind down by stretching. I would wind down by reading. I would wind down by talking about my goals. The next takeaway from deleting TikTok and Instagram was that I was able to stay consistent with a morning and night routine. For the first hour of waking up and for the first hour of going to sleep, I tried to eliminate my technology use as much as possible, and that was definitely a lot easier by deleting TikTok and Instagram. Kanye and I have been super consistent with our routines and we hold each other accountable really well. For our night routine, we stretch, we talk about our goals for the day, for the week, and for the month, and then we read the self-confidence formula. All of which I probably wouldn't have done as effectively, if not at all, if I did not delete TikTok and Instagram. The next takeaway from deleting these apps is that I no longer had the desire to impress people for their approval. As I mentioned earlier, I used to be someone who was obsessed with the amount of likes I got, the amount of comments I got saying, oh, you're so pretty, oh, I love your body, blah, blah, blah. None of that matters. None of that matters. I'm going to repeat it again. None of that matters. The next takeaway was I noticed a significant drop in screen time. As I mentioned, I went from like 8 to 13 hours all the way down to, at one point, it was an hour and a half. Imagine spending 12 hours a day on your phone. That's half of your day on this thing? Are you kidding me? You're letting a technological device control your entire life? The next takeaway was that I found more passions, I developed my passions, and I thought more creatively. As I mentioned earlier, when I was addicted to these social media apps, I didn't have the capacity to think. I didn't allow myself to sit still and actually use my mind properly. Because I deleted those apps, I was able to think more creatively in terms of what I wanted my future to look like, and I even added the passion of pursuing business and entrepreneurship. Another takeaway from this 2-month journey was that I did lose connection with a lot of people. Some would say that I have a pretty poor social life. Even though I am very confident and comfortable speaking to almost anyone, I do feel like I don't have a lot of friends, and I am totally content with that. I didn't like the half-effort friendships that I got through social media, where if you sent a streak to someone, or you DM'd them, or you commented on their Instagram post, as if that was the glue that was holding your friendship together. I especially noticed this when I deleted Snapchat back at the end of high school, beginning of college. I lost so many friendships because I didn't do streaks anymore. Then I thought to myself, if a friendship is solely based on the fact that we're connecting by one picture a day, is that friendship even worth having at that point? Even though I did lose a lot more friends and lose connection with a lot more people, I was able to grow closer with the people that truly mattered. For example, in my own life, my best friend Victoria lives in North Carolina and I live in Washington. We are so far apart physically, and yet we are still so close despite being so physically far away, and plot twist, we didn't need social media to keep our friendship alive. If social media is the only thing that's holding your friendships together, you might want to reevaluate those friendships. People have always told me I am the world's worst texter. I never respond in a timely manner. And the people that know me really well know that it's not because I'm avoiding them or I don't like them. It's simply because I am doing other things with my time rather than being on my phone. And in order to have those connections with people, I don't want it to be through a social media app. I would rather FaceTime them, or I'd rather visit them in person and we can actually do something, have an experience together. And the last, most important main takeaway from this challenge was that I was able to find more meaning in my life. There is more to this life than this tiny screen in front of you. There are so many things you can do to live your life other than being controlled by this thing. So reflecting on this experience, I don't see myself returning to TikTok or Instagram anytime soon. It may be a possibility in the future, but I think I have better things to focus on right now. If y'all try this experiment for yourself, please let me know how it goes and how it has transformed you. That is the end of the video, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.